non-profit. We are a non-profit Section 8 registered company. We do conduct online free training and internship program. So we want to make this cyber world a better place basically for everyone. And that is what is our vision towards making the cyber world more safer. And for that, we are connecting with organizations like you. We are connecting with basically students who aspire to come into cybersecurity, or there are non-technical people who want to learn technical things, and then there's something which we do at cybersecurity. Yeah, let us start with what are the types of attacks basically with which are very common type of attacks in cybersecurity, and so that we can be sure for the next presentation process. Just give me a minute, I'm sharing my another slide. So starting with DOS attack. Some of you may be knowing about this type of attacks and maybe a revision like of it. So pinging a specific IP address or a system continuously from a multiple we can say locations, or from multiple requests is and at times this type of attack is possible if not proper precautions are not taken there. And I'll tell you, these are type of a ransomware attacks. We read a lot of news of ransomware. So recently again global news was about AIMS hospital. So what happens in ransomware? A file or a folder is specifically encrypted, and you are not able to decrypt it unless you have the its key, private key, and you will be able to only decrypt it if you have the decryption key or decryption mechanism. What are the ways basically how a ransomware can come into your system or computer, either via some phishing links, either via some we can say pen drive or a hard drive which you are attaching to your computers, or your like customers are attaching to your computers, or a memory card, or any type of things, or even via network. So when we say ransomware, there is again a type of malware. In a lot of cases, there is a ransom which is demanded in case of a data breach. So I'll also share you the data breach investigation case study. So ransom, there are recently, as I told you, AIMS is a very big case study. Then if you go few years back, the WannaCry was a very big hit case study, and then Petya also. So at times ransomware, how they behave, Petya was a very good example. Like a ransomware can only not encrypt your files or lock your files. That ransomware can also basically be a wiper. So in the case study of Petya, what basically has happened is, in the ransomware of Petya, what basically has happened, so it has hit Ukraine the most, and after that what has basically happened is they were not paying the ransom money, and when they were not able to I mean, they were purposely not paying the ransom money. When they were not paying the ransom money, the next day the files basically got wiped off. So that ransomware basically is not only encrypting your files and folder, but also working as a wiper at times, depending on what type of program it is done. And when there is a ransom attack, it is not suddenly a day it comes and your files are encrypted. While investigating a lot of organizations from the forensic perspective, we found that again the threat agent was sitting into the system, let's say 6 months back, or 3 months back. And obviously if there was a continuous monitoring, this kind of threats could be avoided. That is what we can see. But there are a lot of gaps also at a lot of organizations. You all also from the technical and auditing perspective may have experienced such type of cases where situations may be avoided, but due to non monitoring of this type of threats, people face or organizations face cyber threats. And again, malware, when we say malware, it's a broader term: virus, Trojan, worm, lot of things comes under the category of malware. So the term itself is a malicious software. That is what we can say. And malware, it is not specifically a file or a folder, a program which is deployed for working. Let's say a mobile application or a web application can be also a malicious thing which can basically work. Let's say recent examples, we see loan app frauds are going on. So again, if you install that type of loan apps, it gets converted into a spyware, and it gets the data of all your photos, videos, your contacts, and everything. So malware is nowadays not limited. That is what I can say, to computers or laptops. It is again for mobile phones also, and we all nowadays work more on mobile phone and computers, or I would say equally also at times, because we check all of our emails and send emails to our mobile phones. We do a lot of data exchange through instant messaging apps like WhatsApp or Signal, or there are many other apps which we use for data exchange, but which data is not a personal data, and that is a official or your professional data. So malware can hit anywhere. Prior to the prior, like where when phone era has not started, at that times what we used to do, we used to at the time of incident, we only used to investigate the computers, servers, routers, and firewalls, and a lot of things. Nowadays, when there is a data breach, we also recommend, if at all possible, under some like legal clauses and all, to investigate the suspect's phone also. If at all, by knowingly or unknowingly, the user has used some malicious app through which the data has been leaked. So at time we give a lot of privileges at the IT administrator level or super admin level to someone, and then if their personal devices are breached, then all the data is being breached. Phishing again is something which we all know when we talk about phishing. But now today specifically, let us talk about types. What are the different types of phishing? Okay. And when if there is some website which is, again, the domain name is somewhat tweak, or there is a subdomain which is created under some another domain, and can be used for majorly banking websites, credentials stealing, or you can say as other platforms also, credential stealing. But there were advisories which were given by the regulatories like RBI, SEBI, in association with CERTIN, which has mentioned a lot of types of phishing attacks. So let us talk about like spear phishing. So what is spear phishing? Is something which, if you get again email which is not like from your superior, but it pretends to be that it is from your superior. Let's say your organization CEO has emailed you and asked you for few important documents. Here in Maharashtra, basically there were multiple incidents of spear phishing. One of the bank here, we won't be able to take the name of the banks as we sign NDAs while investigating. So their like clerical or officer level staff got an email from the CEO ID demanding some information of the customer. Now that information was extracted from the CVS and then given to that CEO ID. And actually the email was not from the CEO, and it was again from the attacker, and it happened. Now basically in this scenario, Certain and RBI has given an advisory where how you can identify this type of attacks, where you have to actually see from which ID, just not only the name, but at times the domain itself is copied. It is same to same like that. So in that scenario, you have to check your we can say domain name also. Further going ahead, I'll share my screen, and I'll share some tools also how you can check it. Also, I'll just now share my screen and check if how is your domain basically vulnerable for such type of attack. And there are a lot of free tools. One of them I'll be able to share with you now, and there are a lot of paid tools also, which make the probability of this type of attacks more and more.
Okay, Nikhil, there are two questions related to the ransomware because we move to the next one. Uh,
Uh-huh.
would that be, can I call
Yes,
out
yes,
so that,
yes, yes,
okay,
please go ahead. Anybody can.
yeah,
Yeah.
the first one, and why are ransomware attacks getting successful? I believe most of the company have DR in place where they can recover in minimum possible time. Any information on AIMS recently attack, why it was down for more than 7 days? This is
See,
from Neeraj. Yeah.
yes, Neeraj. So good question about ransomware. A lot of people have DR and everything. So it depends on what is the duration of that lock shipping of that backup which is taken place. And also, while ransom attacks, it is observed at times where like ransom attacks are done on not only on huge organizations where DR is present, but there are also organizations which don't have this type of like we can say DC and DR and everything, but they are also targeted. They feel that they are not a technical company, but their major designs and everything is working on computer, and that's the reason they don't take that precautions also. Now talking about the ransomware, let's say we dealt with a company which was a chemical color production company. They had a factory where they had more than 500 computers. Now there was a ransom attack which was hit, and what happened into that company is that ransom basically got spread into the network very easily. They all computers were all 500 computers were Windows based computers. Now the backup was happening on a server which is again a Windows based server. So again, because there was a connection between the client and the server system, the backup also got encrypted there. So after that incident, they changed their infrastructure with a NAS-based backup also. So while one thing is happening, backup is happening with the server, Windows server, the another will have on a Linux-based server or NAS-based server. And there is how basically if there is any further attack, so at times Windows ransomware do not work on Linux-based system. That is the major thing which we have observed, and it works in that way. And why most of the organizations take a lot of time to recover or to remove the ransomware, as I told you, ransomware at times is not only doing encrypting all of files. So at times it is programmed in such a way it can multiple files, it can multiple your it can completely full your hard drive or your storage box. That is something also can be done. Secondly, at times it wipes out your data. That is something also. And see, we have lot of endpoint securities, anti-malware, antivirus, and lot of things are there. But when it comes to behavioral identification and not only signature based identification, there is where the detection challenge already is. And there are a lot of tools which claim to be anti ransomware again, but we can minimize the risk, but we cannot eliminate the risk at times. So this was just my take
Yeah,
over
it's a very detailed answer. Um, Only one more question on that topic I am taking.
there. Uh-huh.
In case of ransomware attack, what is the best option, keeping in mind that the PI data, if the attacked organization does not pay up, the data may be sold on dark web. So whether one should pay or not. The question is, in case of a ransomware attack, do we need one should pay or not?
Absolutely. So again, see, there are cases where we have seen if one has paid, they have got the decryption keys. But there are cases where we have seen that once you pay, they get more greedy. So like they say, okay, pay me some dollars more again, or some in crypto, obviously. So more again and again. And actually, ideally we should not pay unless first of all we should go for an investigation. We should go for recovery mechanism. System restore point may be there, your DL sites may be there, a lot of things may be there, and that should be the very last option to pay to the cyber criminal, because obviously you cannot trust a criminal after paying that that person will give you a decryption key only. So that is what I can say. Ideally we should not pay. And when there is a ransom attack, if you analyze the type of ransomware, you should first of all see where there were similar attacks throughout the globe, and what did they do for investigating it. Did they find a decryption key or not? And then only you can basically come and get back to the cyber criminal. And what are the ideal things is not to pay them. So now we were talking about email spoofing or spear phishing type of attacks. So you can actually check your domain or your client's domain using such type of tools. emkei.cz is the URL. I can put it into the chat also. Okay. Okay, I posted it into the chat, and you can actually check. At times this goes into, let's say you have to email Nikhil, but from Nikhil's email ID only, and to then subject, and then yeah, there is also a provision where you can see, okay, even if you have emailed from some CEO's ID, but it should get replied to your email ID. So that is also, it's something can be done. And again, this is a free tool, but there are a lot of paid tools which can be used basically for doing it. You can host your own server to do this type of tests to like to your client systems. And see, there are basically provisions where you have to update your SPF records, where there are tools like MX Toolbox. So I'll just post this also into the chat. So where actually you can put your domain for monitoring for blacklisted IPs and everything, and also see if your SPF records are in place or not. So if the SPF records are in place, there is a less possibility of your email IDs or domains basically of getting spoofed. So this is just a small tool which you can use it. Now I'll move to again the presentation part. Again, whaling is one of the concept in spear phishing. Sorry, in phishing. And when we say about whaling, so I'll just share you one incident about whaling. So like compliance bodies send emails to organizations. Let's say I'll give you example again in one of the bank here. What happened is they got an email from RBI stating like, okay, this is the new compliance which has come and you have to like check it. And there was a zip file attached into the email. And ideally they attach a PDF file, or they give just a link of the compliance, and or else they update it on their official website. Or if there is anything confidential which is not public, they again give a PDF or what. So zip is something which was not expected. Now the staff, the officer level staff, basically they clicked on the email. One what happened basically, when they clicked on the email, they said, okay, this email is from RBI, but they did not see the email ID. The email ID was RBII hyphen, and again there was some like basically spelling which was not relating to RBI, but it looked like RBI. And then the file basically was reported to the IT department. So the very first step, what basically you can do is you can isolate that system and should not open that file on your production computer. That is something is really important. Then that file was extracted on the VM based system, and we what we used, I'll just share it with you. And these are the basic steps where you don't require any type of technical expertise also to investigate. So there's something virustotal.com. You can use this website to check if the file, if you upload any of the file, is that file one like a malicious file or not. Here you can actually upload any file, basically any URL file. So you can click on choose file. I'll just let's say upload this PDF. I'll just confirm the upload. Now it will start detecting. Obviously, it is not a malicious file, and we'll obviously get its signature also. So there are these are the all the antivirus, or we can say endpoint providing companies. This will some of them will say you it is protected. So again, connecting to the context of the question which was asked, like why it is not detectable, why hard it is hard to detect any type of ransomware, or we can say in this context as a malware. All the antivirus companies or all the anti-malware companies are not able to detect give 100% detection rate, and there are few which capture on the like we can signature basis, then few see behavior behavior basis detection, and then you can see here what are their hash values when it was first scanned. Sorry, first when it was scanned. So you may be also like you may also see or observe that the file which you are scanning, you may not be the first person who has scanned it. So there is where also you can get to know, okay, this is a malicious thing which can be scanned or not. Okay, so this is something which is a wonderful tool which you can use it for free. Also there is a URL scan which is given where just a minute, I will go to this website again. I hope my screen is visible to everyone, right?
Yes,
Yes,
it is visible.
it is
Oh,
visible. Yes.
okay. Because I'm switching tabs now, so I don't know about that permissions of switching tabs. So you can scan the URL which is seems as a phishing URL here. There are a lot of like see online communities where you can let's say fish tank is also one of the open source thing where you can actually submit a phishing URL. You can get downloaded database of so like I'll show you fish tank. I think it gives API also. So let us see the fishtank.org. Okay, see, okay. So when it is submitted and all, and you can add a fish, verify a fish, mailing list, and there are a lot of options basically which are given here. So a lot of open source tools and techniques are also something which you can use while you are auditing some organization or while investigating few things, and also check if that organization was in any type of phishing part of a phishing attack or not. Now talking about the dark web, like lot of hacked information obviously that is sold on dark web also. So you can use browsers like Tor, and there basically there are a lot of markets where this type of data which is hacked is being sold. So again, the case which is in public, I can obviously tell you about it. So Punjab National Bank, there were a lot of credit cards hacked, and that credit cards data was available for sale on dark web websites. And let's say there was a credit card which was having value of $100 or $500 that is sold just for $5 or $10 worth cryptocurrencies, and then that are used by gamers to buy Steam accounts, or let's say buy anything online which is not basically which doesn't require a OTP at times. So these are also the things which happens. So I'll just share my screen again. Now talking about wishing again is a type of phishing attack only. That is what I can say. Okay, sorry. Wishing. So we attackers use nowadays voice over internet protocols, which at times are non-traceable, at times are traceable. So when you go in cooperative type of banks, I've observed this, like a lot of customers call into branches and ask, okay, what is my account balance? What is the last transaction which was done on my account? Is this number check cleared or not? And then there is no verification metrics, and if at all it is so, there is some technique called as call spoofing, or using this different type of VoIP solutions also. People call pretending you're like taking your identity, customer's identity, and say, okay, my name is Nikhil, and this is my account number, I need this balance, or I need this specific information. And now this has been given without any type of verification. So and also it has the tools nowadays have facility to modulate your voice. It can be like a teenager boy or a girl or a senior citizen, like a man or a elder man or a mid-aged man. So that facilities are also there, which are available. So they should always have a protocol while giving information, either by verifying the date of birth or the middle name, or any type of thing basically, which has to be implemented. And again, we have seen a lot of data leakages through this type of techniques. These all techniques are being given by the compliance bodies as an advisory, and to create awareness amongst the users who deal with the customers basically day in and out. Then there is something drive by download. So we lot of times basically get emails and saying, okay, you have won this, or in that scenario, if you are working with corporate, so download this, and you'll activate your once you click on that link, they say, okay, activate this ActiveX player to look at this video or to look at this audio. So at that time also, the malicious agent gets installed in your systems, and it works. Again, the question would be like, is antivirus not enough to like for the protection of this type of thing? So again, I'm saying antivirus will be minimizing the risk, not eliminating it. So there are techniques where you can manually also identify or investigate this type of scenarios. So I'll also share my screen and show how, if you get such an email, what are the basic steps which you can do at your own before even you engage a digital forensic investigator, or a digital forensic investigator agency, and then how you can report it also, because every bank or semi controlled organizations, or it may be a insurance company, they have to report it to certain, and again the police also, local police also, and then the compliance body, it may be RBI, it may be IRDA, SEBI, or any other body. Browser gateway frauds are there. So a lot of times what when we say, okay, all the proxy sites are blocked from your firewall or not. So yes, they say yes, firewall is blocked, but at times you have to in one of the organization we did a check. So we checked, okay, K proxy or proxy site, proxy tools, there are a lot of tools. Well, we went to the browser address bar and we checked, okay, kproxy.com, it blocked, it created a log into the firewall. Now what we did is we added an extension. That extension was added to Google Chrome, and it was working fine. So even if they blocked the proxy websites, they obviously firewall has a lot of categories saying educational sites, pornographic sites, proxy sites, entertainment sites, job or recruitment sites. So in that scenario, proxy sites were blocked, but not in the extension. So when you say you're using Google Chrome, you have extension Firefox, Mozilla has a lot of extensions. So this thing was done. And so at times you can actually go ahead and do this experiment, add a proxy extension on your browser, and does it works, or does it blocks you? That is also a check which can be done. Browser gateway fraud. So at times this extensions are also vulnerable, and that extension can lead into the download of malicious intent at your system level. So ghost admin exploit, or you can say it as RCE also, which is the remote code execution. And people tend to use outdated systems. Even I see a lot of organization using Windows 7, which is actually out of support. So why you should not use it? Just to go on a website. I'll just share again my screen, my browser screen, and I'll show you the website name. It's exploit DB. And when we go on exploit DB and just type, we just type here Windows 7, or even Windows 10 also. If you talk about a Windows 11 also, why, what is the importance of keeping these systems up to date? That is really important. So if I search here Windows 7 and I just do a search here, or even you can search taking. Okay, so see, there are a lot of local and remote, see, RCE which is available on SMB Ghost. So you can click here and you can see the complete details, the CVE details, that is common vulnerability exploitation details, and that is the reason how you can exploit it. Every detail basically is given here, which is again free. So if an attacker gets to know that whatever system you are using is vulnerable, and so remote code exploitation is like the way how the attacker can exploit it. So I pasted the website also into the chat box. If anyone wants else, they can.
Yeah,
Note
and
it.
I will post that to everyone as well. Uh, okay, two
Ye-
more questions, and
Yes.
it's just related. And I'm also hearing for the first time
Uh-huh.
how Jamtara, a town in Jharkhand, became the center of cybersecurity attacks in India.
Okay. All right. So we see basically Jamtara because it is in what we can say Netflix, and that's something which is well known. And when we say it is a center, because number one thing again, there was a lot of unemployment in those areas. And when you like teach someone, okay, money can be earned by simple tricks, they use this fake SIM cards. Now if they know, and now basically they know also the VoIP techniques to call, so they'll do fraud in like 10 times now, which they are doing as of now. And specifically the rate of unemployment, or we can say the literacy rate, is also one of the reason there. And when we talk about Jamtara, it is not only Jamtara. If you see here in Maharashtra also, there were you can say cases found in Mira Bhayandar or Thane. There were call centers who were are like busted by the police. They were raid conducted by the police. Even if we see like last to last month, FBI and CBI in collaboration basically has located 115 locations all over India and rated this. So Jamtara is famous because it is again on Netflix, and there are a lot of case studies which are done there. Even again, while we work with law enforcement agencies, a lot of people from law enforcement agencies give a statement that if you go there with a very small team, there is a possibility you will be only attacked. So they have their own structured, it is a complete structured business. Also what information we get is, let's say there are different villages. Let's say what a small villages they do is, one village will exclusively do wine shop fraud, one village will exclusively do credit card frauds, no other village should interfere in the another village's business. So that is also, which is again verbal uh, not documented, but verbal commitment between them. So this is how Jamtara or other locations are also working. The sad part is, see, they are doing crime in very small amounts. Let's say they take 5,000, 10,000, and when you go to the police, they say, okay, 5,000 के लिए मैं अभी किधर वो state में जाऊंगा. So that is what is also happening, and also the crimes are happening in lakhs of rupees. There also, I'll just, it's a good question. I'll just share one wonderful website. If there is any financial fraud which is happening with you or any of the people you know, so I'll just share the screen and tell you what you have to do as the first respondent. So there is something called as nodal officer's email ID. Okay, just a minute. I'm just sharing the screen. It's a wonderful website launched by a cyber cop who is in UP. Professor Triveni Singh is doing a wonderful work in UP against cyber criminals. Okay, I'll also post the URL. Yeah.
No, we are not seeing the screen now.
Yes. I'll just share that. I was just opening it. Now is it visible, sir?
Now it's okay. Yes.
Okay. So you can see this is the website 420.the420.in. And let's say if your friend says, okay, someone called from maybe Jamtara or maybe anyone else and said, okay, give OTP. So the transaction, it keeps comes with a merchant name where the money is gone. So let's say if it is Paytm, so you get the email ID of Paytm nodal officers. So it's Care, Security, Vinit Chaudhary, Security at Paytm, Saurabh3.Sharma at Paytm, Cyber Cell at Paytm. This is actually the most used one. Then let's say they say, okay, I got a fraud by MobiQuick. So you can search the nodal ID of the MobiQuick officers, and then you can go ahead with this. So these are a few practical tools. See, you can see risk at MobiQuick, VPN at MobiQuick, fraud alerts at MobiQuick. Few maybe repeating fraud alerts at Mobi, and at times there you can see the numbers of the nodal also. So I'll just paste this link also.
Oh, this is very good.
Hmm.
And in the same way, and one question, because otherwise we may miss that.
Yeah, go ahead, go ahead.
Yeah. I understand has not allowed VPN. Is it similar to proxy? I could not get the full question. This is from Aji Thomas. Aji, can you put the complete version? But I don't know, Nikhil, did you able to decipher the message?
No, I did not get you.
Yeah.
Can you just?
I request him to type it more. And similarly, Nikhil sir, another question. Can you tell something about ghost administrator exploit?
With an example. So, okay. So I'll just give you, there are a lot of types of malware. So one of the malware type is, we can say RAT, that is remote access Trojan. So with the example, I'll give you one of the bank hack we were investigating, and we saw the systems were accessed at night 2 a.m. So we checked the CCTV camera, who is there to access the system at night 2 a.m. Why there are file activities going on, how we use the file activities. I'll share the screen and I'll show you the tool also, which is an open source tool which you can also use. Then there was nobody sitting in front of the system, and the system and the system screen was blank. Next day we came and we checked that this monitor was just turned off, but the system unit, we call the CPU or system unit, was running. And when we took the Windows log on, log off logs, we identified the system was just on for more than 30 days. So how was someone operating the system remotely? So there are a few attacks called as RAT, that is the remote access Trojan, and that was installed in the computer and into a stealth mode. When I say stealth mode, it is like hidden mode. And that hidden mode attack basically, like malware, was able to access the system remotely and again transfer the file, edit the file, delete the files which are important. And there is a wonderful website. I'll type it here also, nearsoft.net. Okay. And I'll just open it, and which section, because it's a huge website. How you can check, see, Okay, so this is the website, and file activity is the name of the tool. Uh, There it has an internal wonderful search also. So see, file activity watch. So or last view activity. We see that the recently files who have opened it and not opened it. So you can actually check by clicking on the just it is an executable thing, not an installable thing also, so that you don't need to whitelist and everything. So what was their process ID, what was the process name, when it was open, and it is about file activity. Then the similar is about package installing. Is there any package which is installed before the incident or after the incident, to check the data. And also similarly, like Windows log on or log off. So this gives you the timing of system. Let's say it is turned on at 2 a.m. or shut it down at whatever timing. So see, Windows log on view. These are Windows based tools. Again, we again in our community are developing a lot of tools which are used, which you can use in Linux OS also. So see here, I hope there is a screenshot given. Yes. So see which user also logged in. That is also important. So there are multiple users at time, multiple domains also at time, because one system is not used only by one user. Multiple users can use it. So this is also a wonderful tool which you can use it. There are a lot of tools which are easy, one single click GUI based, and if you read a description out of it, you will understand what that tool does. You can experiment it also. There's a one very wonderful website which you can use it for the thing. Okay. Yes. Are there any more
Yes.
questions? Yes.
Yes. Aji has clarified now.
Ah,
Aji
ah.
Thomas. In India, we are not allowed to use VPN. I don't know that's true. I get a notification when I connect to open Wi-Fi like in airport. Is it similar to proxy?
Okay, okay. So again, see, it's a very tricky answer again, which I'm also giving for this question. So the difference between VPN and a proxy, when you say VPN, is not a VPN tunnel. You're using VPN for, let's say, you as a user, I as a user, not as a corporate or a company using it. So when there is a VPN usage, basically you connect to a free Wi-Fi, which is obviously not safe at all. When we say it may be airport or it may be anything, so there are techniques to detect insecure Wi-Fi, obviously. And at that time, basically, you should use a VPN connection. That is what it is suggested. Proxy is something which is used to again hide the identity when basically crime is done. Let's say I am a cyber criminal. If I want to perform crime, and I wish my IP basically should not get disclosed. And also, I agree to your point when we say it is not allowed. Recently there was a discussion on a bill which says, okay, VPN service providers, if they want to give services in India, they should disclose the identity, because of the proxy service providers and VPN service provider, these tools are being misused and then being used. VPN is basically used to secure yourself, so that if a criminal tries to attack your IP is not publicly available, it is manipulated. You are using some other country's IP, and to hide your identity to do a secure transaction and all. But at times criminal use it for performing cyber crime activities. And when law enforcement agencies ask this type of proxy providers, let's say they do a lot of IP tracking and all, and this details doesn't comes in the IP directory records which are provided by the nodal officers. So when this law enforcement agencies ask, they are not able to answer or not able to give that type of data. That is the reason that was the law or the bill which was in discussion. So again, you can use VPN. Basically, that is something which has to be used. Okay.
Okay, then we will take the question a little later. You can
Mhm.
continue. Yeah,
Yes.
there are 7 more. Yeah.
Mm. Mm. Go ahead. What is the next question, sir?
Okay, one second. The next question, what precautions an organization should take when allowing employees to bring their own devices to work?
Okay. All right. So I'll cover that question. So first of all, when you are allowing their devices, their cameras should actually have some tape on the cameras, because that is something which is vulnerable and cannot be controlled under policy. Like you cannot keep an eye 24/7 on someone who's clicking something or not clicking something. Secondly, if we have found employees charging their mobile phones on the office laptop and computers, but what do you know if they're charging or allowing something? So the endpoint security which is deployed in the organization should have the facility to block the devices. Now the question comes of accessibility, and when we see about CIA metrics, which you all are well of, so the accessibility or availability data part, that if genuinely for organizations pen drive or a device hard drive is attached, it will block that also. But no, that is not the case. You can whitelist the serial number into the endpoint control panel or the dashboard, and if someone is trying to attach a device, a removable device or a mobile device to the computer, you get a lock created, and you can set a alert, a rule alert, where you can identify the user and which type of device. Was it a camera, was it a mobile phone, was it a pen drive, was it a memory card? That can be detected very easily. Okay. All right. So now I'll move to the
No,
next one. Yeah,
can I give two more questions similar one?
yeah, you can. I'm
Yeah.
open for it. No problem.
Yeah. Nirsoft.net, can we
Uh-huh.
trust this website? Question number one.
Uh-huh.
Hope this executable will not harm our computer. Similarly, while using this website, how to ensure that these are secured one?
Okay. So when some tools basically which I am suggesting, I have used it, and my community, by cybersecurity community, which is Cyber Secure India, we have more than 1,500 people all around India and abroad also. They use this type of tools, and a lot of investigators use this type of tools. And whenever you make sure, how to make sure that any of the website, any of the tool is not harmful, so you can first use it in VM, or virtual machine, or a isolated machine. That is what I can recommend you. And before going and downloading anything from a third party website, you can check on VirusTotal, Fish Tank, or there are a lot of GitHub repositories which are available on Git. That there is also where you can check if that website was a phishing website or not a phishing website. And also you can scan the files on VirusTotal as well. Nearsoft specifically, there are two types of file. One is executable and one is installable. So again, obviously, as they are coming from the, if you're downloading it from the Nearsoft website, they will not harm. If you're downloading it from other any third-party website which is not being used so much, it may be harmful.
Okay. Okay. The another question, Anandam,
Yes,
he typed it
yes,
twice.
yes, yes.
Kindly
Finally, Dhananjay.
clarify
Yes.
if taking backups on cloud infrastructure help us mitigate the risk of ransomware.
Yeah. Yes, obviously. So if you take the backup at the cloud level, the cloud infrastructure, it will help you mitigate the risk of ransomware or your data being lost. But when it comes to cloud also, so I will just give you a small tip about cloud. We do a lot of cloud infrastructure audits and like pen testing and forensic investigation also. There is something called as default configuration which you use into the cloud. So if you use default configuration, you're basically prey to security misconfiguration. And let's say you use AWS, you use Azure, or you use Google Cloud. They have by default at times passwords into their internal systems, or the partitions which are done inside again have some by default credentials, or the lock policies are also by default. Let's say it is a 30-day lock policy which is by default there, or never store lock policy, which is by default there. So even if there was a case which we recently investigated where the cloud backup policy was changed. It was literally related to the cloud, and it was with Azure cloud, and they got to know after 3 months of the attack. Now the default policy says 30 days logs are stored. So then again we were not able to get any type of logs in that scenario of the cloud. And also there are add-on services to the cloud, let's say uh, Commvault, or there are a lot of Microsoft products which are used as an add-on service to the to the cloud. So that policy is also basically you need to check. So it is, we cannot be just rest assured okay the data is on cloud and we are okay. Now it cannot be hacked, or it can be just used as a backup, but the cloud security misconfiguration should not be done. So that configuration should be secure, that is which is our responsibility also.
Okay, now we will take a couple of questions later. Let us continue because we already we have yeah, it's a good numbers. We reached at one point of time it's a 250. Now it's a
Okay.
232. Yeah, it's a good. Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. I'll just share my screen. Now let us actually see what type of we can say things which we have to check when we are like auditing. It may be banks, it may be stockbroking companies or insurance companies or any type of corporates, and there are a lot of policies. So okay, so what to check into the policy from the technical standpoint of view. I think a lot of questions have come, and while answering that questions, I've covered few things, but I don't worry, I'll repeat it also. So you just have to go through this. This is a very wonderful document, the technology vision for cybersecurity for UCVs for 2020 to 2023. So it says a wonderful statement. Use of information technology by bank has grown rapidly and is now an important part of the operational strategy of banks. The number of frequency and impact of cyber incidents or attack have increased. There is a huge change, or we can say the huge transformation when it came into the rise of cyber crime numbers at the banking level also. So what we observe from the different type of research reports and all. So number one, the transformation came from e-commerce to m-commerce, that is from like browser based banking to mobile based banking. So it was the period of demonetization where people shifted themselves to let's say from going to the bank physically to mobile apps or e-wallet type of thing. That was number one. And number two, when it was the transformation from 1 GB per month to 1 GB per day. I think all of us have used or seen that time where we were turning off the mobile data because my data should not get over and I should be able to use that data 1 GB for the complete month. Because if I finish it, I have to again do a recharge or a top up to it. And that time was when mobile banking apps again were not used so much widely because of the data thing, and other apps also. But today's topic is about frauds about financial or cybersecurity, which is related to banks and stockbroking companies and insurance companies. I'll cover this. So this transformation basically, what happened? Yes, obviously we are moving towards digital India. We should operate on mobile apps. There's nothing wrong in it. But what about digital secured India? That still remains a question. Are we really like knowing how to use this type of mobile apps with a secure thing? And in my further upcoming slides, I'll also cover when we say okay, it is a mistake of the customer while using a mobile application, he or she has shared a OTP mobile banking application, or when there is a fraudulent transaction, customer has shared the OTP, he or she is liable to bear that loss, and not the organization or not the bank is liable to bear that loss. How true it is? So are we is your client as a bank is also following all the policies which are given by the Reserve Bank or by the SEBI or IRDA or not. That is again a question which, so this transformation has changed a lot. This transformation has not created literacy how to use it securely, but to use it. That is something which people have learned now. And may it be in lockdown, may it be in while demonetization, or may it be into the transformation of 1 GB per day to 1 GB or 2 GB or 3 GB and unlimited data per day, sorry, per month to per day. There are several regulations and like policies, circulars, notifications, advisories, which are given by RBI, IRDA, SEBI, and in association with certain. So everyone should, if you go and follow the certain pages on LinkedIn and Twitter handle, you will get every notification. May it be for MSME, may it be for SEBI, may it be for IRDA, or may it be for RBI or any other body, or in general thing. So how certain works is, if there is any type of fraud, certain asks you a question, that is it a cyber attack or a ID credentials, your credentials compromised. If it is a cyber attack, then the threat is to the complete industry, and they create an advisory and then roll out to the complete industry. May it be banking industry, may it be insurance, may it be any NBFCs, which is non-banking finance companies, which is nowadays a boom, or small banking finance, which is always nowadays a boom. So talking about few controls and what actually to check when they when RBI says about domain name control from anti-phishing perspective. So how do you ensure? They give you a checklist. They say, okay, anti-phishing activity is done, or domain name controls are completely there. So domain name, I mean website name. Okay, so you can actually go to the tool which I displayed there, emkei.cz, and enter their own domain name and try to basically email them from their domain only, or their user only. If it passes, so it is a clear identification of they have not put the right controls there. So the sad part is, see, in a lot of organizations, when there is an incident, we see, are your policies not in place? Are you not following the compliances? We say, yes, we are following. Let us see your policies. We can see a very huge bunch of policies which are on paper, but they are not implemented. So what you can check is actually it is implemented or not implemented. That is really a question which you have to take. Then two-factor authentication for the CBS, that is core banking systems uses. So when the bank says, okay, we are using CBS. So when you say, okay, CBS, and there is a concept of maker and checker, but even a user, at times we have seen there are frauds. The money from def account has been withdrawn using the credential of a user who was not present on that day, and that user credentials were captured using keylogger type of malicious thing, or you are like side shouldering social engineering techniques. And when they use this type of techniques and are able to log in on the day when the user is not present there and do a transaction from a def account, how scary it is. But then the question comes, RBI says you should have a two-factor authentication. May it be a geo-authenticator like application giving you random tokens, or a biometric login which is attached to your device, and then you click enter your thumb on it, which gets verified, and then only it should get logged in. Then there should be time restrictions also. Let's say no one can come into the system after your non-banking hours or your non-office hours. They cannot do transaction, I agree, but they can access to the data. So that is something should not be allowed to a user specific role. So this is how you can put the controls in the perspective of minimizing the risk factor. Then we say security review of computers or terminals used for accessing your internet based or internet facing application, from it may be CBS servers, or it may be your computers or terminals. As I rightly said, okay, we are using what, Windows 7. How can you use Windows 7? How can you, there are organizations who use Windows XP. There are exploits available. So when you say, okay, there is an asset list, in the asset list are there configurations mentioned? You can randomly go ahead and run a like Belark like application where you can directly get the configuration. In that configuration, you will see the OS version also. When you see the OS version, it is, if it is outdated, there are exploits available on it. And you can see, okay, if there are exploits available on it, why it is being used. Then password management is nowadays a big question. So there are a lot of password manager tools which you can use. You cannot memorize, or you should not ideally put all the passwords in one Excel sheet, which is actually not secured. There are a lot of password cracking tools which is easily available. And you say a lot of banks or a lot of organizations, what they follow is they keep an Excel sheet of passwords. They put one master password to it. There are a lot of password cracking tools which they come, and then they are using Office 2007, not even the latest Office, or they are using some open Office to save the cost of the license. But this is again the vulnerable part which should not be done here. Employee awareness training is really important, because these are the frontline people who work on frontline, and they aware the users, the customers, and the end users of the applications or the organization. So employee awareness should cover all the points which are given from the perspective of the compliance bodies, and they should make note of everything, and whatever advisories are coming, all the employees should be instantly informed by that department also. So that is really important. Incident reporting mechanism, when we say to certain, so there are a lot of things which we have to, obviously it's a compulsion. If there is any incident, they have to report it to certain. So I'll tell you one example. What people do is that, okay, they are just only report there is an incident. Now then certain keeps asking question, what is the preliminary thing you have to do if you receive a fraudulent email? What you should do ideally? You should take the email header. So how to take an email header? It is very easy. I'll just share you my screen, and I'll show you how basically you can take the email header. Just a minute. I'll open some of my email. Okay. Okay. So I've opened one email, and I'm now sharing my screen. Okay. So you just have to go click here and say, so show original. When you click on this show original, you can see here, okay, from to ID and everything. And this is something which you have to just copy to clipboard and download this original file. When you click on this, that is a EML file, which is used again for investigation. A lot of like people, what they received a fraudulent email, or they received an email which is consisting a link. They forward that email for investigation, but that is of no use. From where that email is coming, that is an email header which you have to actually investigate. So here, when you download the original file, so this file can be preserved for at times till you go to the law enforcement agency, may it be police, may it be any type of escalation happens at cases, and that it goes to crime branch and upper level we can say agencies, and that can be preserved. Secondly, once you copy it to clipboard, you go to this website, which is MX Toolbox, go to analyze header. These sites are what I am showing you, one site, but there are a lot of sites which are available. You can just paste the header here, because I have copied there, and just click on analyze header. Now you see this. Now what you see here is SPF record. So you see SPF authenticated, because this is actually coming from the original legitimate thing, which IP the email is coming from, and you can actually go ahead and see the complete, you read the complete header, and using this email header analysis. Sorry guys, just a minute. Hey, to bak dite. Thank you. So using this header analysis, basically you can see, identify from where this email has come, and at times basically while reporting this incident, you can prepare your own basic report, and then go ahead and share the incident report to certain. So that also creates a very good impression of your organization. When you see, okay, let's say there is a malicious file which has come, so scan it on virus total. It is not that certain will also have its own tools, and while investigate involving forensic investigators also, that will work. But if you just do a simple scan on virus total, you will find, okay, this file has been identified with 10 other organizations also, because this was scanned 10 days before or 20 days before. So this is, there is a report, we can say, structure which you can design and say, okay, these are our findings, and then you can report it to certain. Okay. When it comes to, again, network management and security, at times there is no centralized inventory which should be there in any of the organization where you go, where the question which is asked by the participant before we started this, again, it's connecting to the context of this, that what all devices are connected to a computer or to your network. Basically, you should have a list of that. So rather than that, if there is any of the device which is coming in, you can like the flag is raised, and you can blacklist that device, and identify it at what time it was connected, and check with your camera where, who was sitting on the system and why it was connected, how much time it was connected to the system, what was the intention of connecting, was it again a charging thing, or just it was from the perspective of copying the data. That is really important. Now let's talk about firewall misconfiguration or secure configuration. I'll just tell you a case study about again, why I'm taking the names of the vendors, because this is something which is publicly available. Nothing which is publicly not available, we do sign NDAs, and then we are not allowed to take names. So recently there was a vulnerability available publicly of FortiGate firewalls. Okay. So FortiGate company has provided like firewall to one of the organization, and what we observed after a week at organizations, that there are two users which are created and were having the complete admin privileges in the firewall system. So we observed, when did we create it? So we did not create it. Then we researched about okay, how these users gets created. We changed first of all the credentials, we changed the 2FA thing and everything. But now when we say, okay, why did this happen? So we checked the version, the firmware version of the firewall. Basically, it was not updated, and because of that, there was an exploit available. There was a vulnerability available into their systems, into the FortiGate firewall system, which allowed the attacker to create two users and do a lot of activities. Now, as an investigator, from the forensic perspective, the work is to investigate. Have they done any policy changes? Have they messed up with some backup policy, or they messed up with some IOCs, indication of compromise, which are there into the firewall systems. So that is something which should be done. All endpoints should have security. That is a really important point, because at times they say, okay, I have a system which is isolated, that doesn't require an antivirus. So no, that is not the case. Even whatever endpoints you have, they should have a I will say endpoint security. Not a lot of organizations say we have single user license of antiviruses, but that is not how it works. You endpoint is really important, because it is whatever the directives and whatever the threat intelligence data is, and you can block it also. Application security lifecycle, when it comes to from the development perspective, when you go and work with lot of organizations, so any of the application development is deployed, that application basically should mask. Let's say in case of a CBS user, the PAN data or the Aadhaar data, it is not required for the user to completely view the data, so that data should be masked. That is really important. It is one of the example, but there are a lot of things which comes under application security life cycle. In continuation to it, I'll talk about VAPT, that is vulnerability assessment, which is for mobile application, web application, and network also. So a lot of organizations, they will give you as a compliance, okay, this is a compliance report of VAPT, we have done VAPT. Okay. Now what, if you don't go and check the report, there are two reports. Ideally, there are two reports. One is the first scan report, and second is the confirmatory scan report. There you'll find no such organization. I'm saying you 99%, the 1% I'm just keeping it like for them. 99% you'll find no organization saying, okay, we have no vulnerabilities found only. Because see, there is nothing called as 100% secure. You cannot expect also. So when we say that, okay, there is a first report and the second report, you have to observe in the first report what are the things which are identified as an attack. And what ideally auditors do, they only follow top 10 OWSP, but that is not the case. You should actually go beyond top 10 OWSP. And for you also to study, I'll just share you on this chat only, chat window. So one is you have to do the study of top 10 OWASP vulnerabilities, and also make an account on HackerOne and Bugcrowd. It's all free. Why I'm telling you, from the VAPT perspective, if they say there is a report which is there, and that report there are vulnerabilities at high level, critical level, medium level, low or informational level, that should be fixed into the next report, and only showing the compliance certificate won't work there. At times we have seen there are issues like parameter tampering, or even if they say, okay, XSS is reported, so is it a dom based XSS, is it a stored XSS, what type of XSS or cross-site scripting attack it is, what type of cross-site request forgery attack it is, what is the impact of that. And let's say there are organizations which use applications of for multiple banks or SEBI controlled organization. Let's say a CBS vendor is using is providing their CBS application for 50 banks, 100 banks, 150 banks. So that vulnerability is not only for a single bank. Just for that 150, or application is being used for a stockbroking company, which is a standard application which is deployed there. So the you should have reports pre-implementation, post-implementation. That is pre-implementation as in when the UAT, again it is in UAT, and then post-implementation when it is a UAT sign-off which is done, and then if there are any major changes, and what is the definition of major changes, that is really important. And once you're going live, that is really important. So when you see a VAPT report at the mobile web application level, the top 10 OWASP you should follow for web application. When you are looking at the mobile application, there are a lot of threats which are coming nowadays in mobile applications, so that is also you should follow. And when you come, it comes to network, so network vulnerability assessment and penetration testing is again a huge topic which should be covered up. So there are a few steps basically also in which compliance says that you should set up a CSOC, that is cyber security, like security operations center. And that CSOC should we should expect basically few things from the CSOC, that basically they should monitor using SIEM tools should be there, and like they should collect the data, they should report the threat intelligence data so that the risk can be eliminated. So at times companies, this type of companies, they don't set up a CSOC. So they should either outsource it or they should set up it. So small organizations, they will not be able to set up it in-house, but either they should outsource it or appoint someone who has a understanding of this CSOC thing, and then they should do it. And they should collect all the threat intelligence data and they should report. That is really important. So these are few steps how you can what are the suggested steps. You should have a IT strategy committee where all these things are reported. So when you say SOC center has 24/7 surveillance, and it is good if you have the team in house, or you can outsource it also. Just give me a minute. I just have water. I'll just share you a case study of the bank. When we investigated, there was a fraud of nearly 1 crore rupees, and the mode of operandi was the money was debited from the general ledger of the bank account and credited to multiple fake bank accounts. And when the transaction happened, when we were appointed as an investigator, we went there and then we saw that the network of the CBS and the like basically normal internet were exposed to internet. So anybody can access CBS on the network on the internet PC. So that is totally wrong. Then we investigated the computers and the hard drives and the complete network through which there were internal IPs basically through which the transaction has happened. So then that systems were vulnerable. That network was vulnerable. Then we conducted a VAPT audit for all the CBS, and we saw that bank has not taken the certificate of VAPT only from the CBS vendor, and at times they had a certification which was outdated. After that there were multiple things which were done. So and we saw there were multiple vulnerabilities which were present there on so that investigation was carried out for again a week or two, and then we found there were multiple loopholes at the CBS level, at the computers or the systems level or client systems or server system level, and then the network level. And when we talk about compliance, yes, they were complying everything, but on paper. So, so when we say okay, we are complying everything, that is really important. If you you have just not to copy and paste and then say okay, this is compliance which is done. Now when we talk about monitoring tools, so under the compliance it is actually the responsibility to use monitoring tools. But as someone asked, okay, is Nersoft safe? So that is also a question you should ask to the IT department. What type of tools are you using? Are they safe, or are they taking fetching your data under the name of monitoring? So should have a legitimate tools. The tools while installing, they should have a what we call it as PFX certificate. So you say right, publisher name it comes right where you install a Microsoft Office product. It says my published by Microsoft, or a PDF reader. It says it's published by Adobe, if at all it is of Adobe. So at times it says unknown publisher, restricted, do not allow to install it, blacklisted. So what are the monitoring tools which you are installing is also really important here. I think there are a few questions and someone has raised hand. Let us take the questions and then continue the next part.
Yeah, there
Yes.
are actually 9 questions now.
Yes. Yes.
Okay. There are 2 questions from Murali, and let me read both.
Yes.
Um, the first one, all such attacks are happening due to lack of security awareness by bank employees or public. We need to populate strong security awareness among masses in India. Is the government or any other third parties working towards this? We as security aware people should do something about this, especially in the scenarios of proliferation of fast internet. This is from Murali.
Yes, yes. So obviously, Murli sir, they are from the government perspective. If you say we have Cyber Jagrutta Divas, which is under Ministry of Home Affairs, which is a compulsion thing for a lot of companies to do it and include their awareness report into as a part of the compliance. So obviously, government is taking precautions on it, and he really pointed a very good point. So however you put up your systems at tools, and however you put every, like you purchase a latest firewall and everything, but human error is something which is again is a big threat, we can say. So government is taking initiatives, and a lot of companies, this awareness is compulsory. They just put it into the report. Yes, awareness is done. They do a attendance like paper, and then they submit it. But actually at times awareness is not done because of, maybe there may be a production workload, there may be any type of workload, and because of that they are not able to allocate their employees time for dedicatedly for awareness. But there is a huge loss for it. So awareness, just not for sake of compliance, but it should cover all these points, all the possible threats which should be done, and government is taking initiatives.
Okay.
Cyber Swachhata Kendra is also a part of the awareness. Yeah, there are how to address the bot things and everything. So Cyber Swachhata Kendra is also one of the things which is taken care of by government.
The second question from Murli. There is juice jacking attempts using open electronic charging station in airports, railway bus stations, etc., or even in mall.
Yes.
Data could be compromised using juice jacking. Any methods by which we can identify such stations? Any ways to protect our devices' data from such attempts?
Yes. Really wonderful question. Juice jacking is again a growing area. So I'll tell you basically, do not plug in your phone with a just turn on situation, and like that attack basically how it works is it scrolls your data and it can debug a spyware. So wherever you go, your phone is infected. We do a live demonstration. That is what we did at your physical event of Isaka Mumbai chapter, a live mobile hack demonstration, how your WhatsApp can be hacked and everything. Online it's bit difficult, that is how basically it works. And how you can protect is use charge only cables, number one. Turn off USB debugging mode or developer options in your Android phone, and turn off USB accessories mode into your iPhone, and then only plug into charging. Switch off your phone while charging your phones to public charging station. And there are kits like HackFi, HACK5, or you can Google it, HackFi, which provides such type of charging cables which can actually fetch the data. They are programmed in such a way that it's very easy for a kidder nowadays also to learn these things on YouTube and do it. So these are the ways how you can avoid or protect yourself from juice jacking attacks.
Okay, the next question from Raghunandan. Yes, at least they should have that evidence. Someday they will clarify with the proper evidence and mark them with some NC to re-verify after 3 months. This may be some question related in between. Raghu, can you just type with the subject as well so that we are good? Let me move to the next one. Abhishek, can we use firewall to secure our PC?
Okay, when you say our PC, do you mean individual
That his PC or a company employee PC or
employee PC? Yes, absolutely. Firewall plays a very important role here. But when it comes to firewall, you actually it is not as easy that okay, you have installed a firewall and your job is done. Okay, so we have seen cases where firewall is installed and still there are cyber attacks. Why? Because there are systems like intrusion detection system, intrusion protection system, which is IDS and IPS, which are not monitored. That is the sad part. So you purchase a 10 lakh rupees firewall, or let's say a $5,000 firewall, and then install a lot of software tools into it, put a lot of add-ons. But if you're not monitoring it, then nobody can save you. Because we have seen attacks where there was a data breach, and when there was a data breach, it took basically, when we identified that it was a data breach, the criminal sent an email saying, okay, we have a data of your users, and we checked their servers, their firewall systems. 6 months or 7 months prior, there were attacks coming from a specific IP, and they were not blacklisted, they were not blocked, and they were logged into the IDS and IPS systems. So we were able to go to the original IP, but again the loss has already happened. So being just putting firewall will not save your system. You have to update the firmware of the firewall, you have to see the logs of IDS and IPS. Also the policies which you have applied to firewall, let's say you have seen no games allowed into the infrastructure, but then to if someone is trying to play online game, sorry, if someone is trying to play online game, you actually should, you get a notification, and then you should have a action taken policy also. If someone, why is someone trying to access a restricted website? If someone is trying to watch porn, from that porn there is some malware which can come inside. Someone is trying to apply to a job is sitting in your organization, and that website is not the authentic website, then again, so firewall catches everything, and then you have to report it to the concerned authority.
Yeah, there is a good question on the current scenario. Nowadays, lots of governance risk and compliance GRC thing is running across the market.
Yes.
A lot of companies are hiring for GRC roles. My
uh,
question: are we saturated technology wise?
Okay. So see, when again I am saying, okay, there are governance, there are policies, everything is there, and are we implementing it? That is really a question. Just in for the sake of completing the compliance, are we completing it? We are not saturated. There is a lot to do. I will say there is a lot more to do depending on the new attacks which are discussed while this session is going on. I'll tell you, my friends, there's some new attack which is discovered. So when there are governance, there are policies and everything, and it is just on paper, and when you are not implementing, then it will not work. And even once implemented, the user should also understand, or else what users basically they get frustrated. Why these policies are there? We are not, because they are not able to understand the importance. Why I'm not able to surf a social media site? What is wrong in it? But obviously it is wrong. If there is some third party plugin which gets installed, your all data is gone because of one silly mistake. Your systems can be compromised, your organizations can be compromised. And yeah, after implementation, maintaining and like monitoring that governance which is done there, that is also a responsibility of the department and the board also. Because when it comes to the board literally signs it. That is what the scenario is. Okay, this is for this year, go ahead. But when it comes to next year, what are the add-ons which are done? Identifying the threat areas which are covered, like which you have observed. Let's say you have submitted 10 reports to certain incident reports, what we have learned from it, and what you are upgrading into the governance part. That is really important. So we are not never, I'll say, saturated. There is a lot more to do.
Okay. One question technical. What are the tools to handle the admin access for the employees?
Tools to handle the admin access. So, well, I'll say then you have to create an active directory into your server, whatever you are handling, and then you have to provide them standard user access. So, access control management is a part of the policies, all the compliance. You go to SEBI, you go to IRD, or you go to RBI, or you go to like certain advisories. They say access control. I'll give you example of access control. Let's say you have a Windows user where it is created from AD and it is in domain, and you should give them control how much files or folders or locations they should access. And at times they should not be able to access the data after working hours, because at times we have seen there are data theft which are done by the misuse of the timing. So you can control the time also. Let's say night 3 a.m. the data was accessed because there was a remote access trojan there, and then the user, if the user itself was restricted, standard user login, that can be done easily. And to investigate, Nirsoft is there. You can use that tool to check which user was logged in at what time. So active directory management is one of the things which you can work on.
Okay. One question similar to that.
Uh-huh.
Whether most of the hackers are acting alone or they have the backing up of their countries to attack enemy countries.
Yeah, yeah. So see, when we talk about hackers, there are type of hackers: ethical hackers, black hat hackers, gray hat hackers, kidlers or script kiddies, then state-sponsored hackers, which you say some countries are sponsoring them, or are they country operated? Let's say when someone attacks on the infrastructure of our country, majorly the national infrastructure. So again, if it is China is declared it is having a more than 2000 cyber army, they say. But actually, and what they do, so there are different hacking groups. First of all, they attack depending on the intention of hacking. So there are we can say groups which only focus on financial type of crimes, only focus on data leakage type of crimes. They only focus because someone is sponsoring them. It may be a rivalry group, or again a state sponsored hackers when we say. So depending now, deface pages, when there is the best example is our Independence Day and Pakistan's Independence Day. So like on our Independence Day, or on their Independence Day, we hack their website and we upload our flag onto that. So that's not basically state sponsored. That is hacking groups internally decide, and then they deface it. So state sponsored is something which is a cyber war, which is going between Russia and Ukraine. That is a state sponsored attack or nation sponsored attack. That is what you can say. So there are different type of hackers working with different cyber security communities or cyber criminal communities also, and then depending on their intention, they work. There are APT groups also basically, which only target a few organizations or few sectors or industry, and they work specifically, or they have expertise on that.
Okay, so I combine two questions. What are the Indian legal consideration that an organization should consider if they are affected by ransomware attack? Second, with the tokenization of financial customer data by RBI in October, how much value does PII data really have for the black hat hacker, especially if it is limited to name, address, and mobile number?
Okay. The next question I did not get about the name,
Okay.
address, and
Okay, basically, so there is a tokenization of financial customer data which only collect a name, address, and mobile number. In this
yes.
scenario, uh, how much impact we have with the hacker community?
Okay. So when we say what are the bodies where you can report, it may be a ransom attack or any type of attack. So one is your law enforcement agency, that is a cyber cell or the police station. You have to file a FIR. Then there is a website which is cybercrime.gov.in. There is where you can report this type of fraud again, which is controlled by MHA, Ministry of Home Affairs. There is a cyber helpline which is 1930, which is given. And obviously you have to report everything to CERTIN, that is Computer Emergency Response Team India. And now when you say about the data of name, phone number, or any type of other data, it depends on what is the database structure a specific organization is using to store this type of data and to transmit the data from one place to another place, or to transfer the data. Is it stored in an encrypted manner or in an unencrypted manner? It depends on completely that.
Okay, then let us move on, and there are a couple of more questions. We'll take it last then.
All right, no problem. Thank you. So this is also important aspect. I hope my screen is visible. Uh, when now the question which the gentleman asked is relating directly here. So see, this is a link which I have given. So there are few things which comes under national infrastructure protection, that is NCIIPC, National Infrastructure Protection Center. So let's say there are a lot of API based applications or terminals basically which are used under for SEBI. And I'm not specifically saying about SEBI. It is API based solution. Everyone is using it. So all these API based solutions, when you are using it, you should comply the guidelines which are given on the MEI ty.gov.in website, which comes under the National Technical Research Organization, that is NTRO, and National Critical Information Infrastructure Protection Center, that is NCIIPC. This the link is something which I have given, and they should adhere to this type of guidelines also, because when something is hacked, so it comes under the national critical infrastructure. That is also we have to take care. So when there is a API which is being used by 50 stockbroking companies or 100 banks or 5,000 banks or 500 banks, so when there is an attack, so they'll say obviously it is an attack on the Indian part of the BFSI sector or the Indian part of the NBFC sector. So that is something which they should comply to. Access control systems, someone asked the questions. I think you should give need to use basis privileges, where as I told, as someone asked, okay, admin permission, how it should be controlled from the Active Directory. You can apply all these controls, and Active Directory should only be controlled by the super admin. And obviously you should have access policy documents. If that access is transferred from one user to another user, if an employee is leaving your company and going to different company, that all accesses should be change credentials should be changed and then handed over, and there is a form which comes of hardware and software asset handling form that should be taken as a sign off. When we talk about IT systems, that should be controlled by this active user. Then there are application uses. Let's say a user, if a user doesn't need a specific module access, the user role should be set there. Then database level, database should be like encrypted and should not be open for anyone. At times we have seen there was attack because the database basically is stored in a plain text and not in the complete we can say encrypted manner, and because of that a simple loophole it is done. Then tomorrow we have a open topic on my YouTube channel about how basically hackers exploit these things using SQL injection. You can attend it at 9 a.m. also. It's free for all on my YouTube channel. About the network. So when we talk about network, lot of organizations don't have a network map. When you go as an auditor or when you are there as a technical person, you should have a network map. If at all there is an attack, so let's say when you build a building, you have a complete architecture plan. So your network is like very important part of your business. So should have a network map. Where is the data backing up to the cloud? Where is DC? Where is DR? Where how many systems are there? If this system is replaced, so actually you should have this map. If there is an attack on certain point, where actually is the attack, you are not able to identify into that hyper area. So network map should be there, and network access control should be defined from firewalls, from endpoint security solutions. So that should be there, and need to use or need to know privilege just should be given. And when I say the word privilege, so there are also techniques of Windows privilege escalation and Linux privilege escalation. So while doing network VAPT, if there are Windows systems, the Windows privilege escalation should be done like from as a part of penetration testing or pen testing PT, and in case of Linux PT privilege escalation should be done. If it is Mac system, Max privilege escalation should be done. So systems which are accessed over the internet should obviously have 2FA, VPN, and all type of firewall controls. When I said about firewall, I already answered about IDS and IPS systems, and there are a lot of other controls which we just go and look at the dashboard of the firewall. You'll find so many options, and ask yourself how many options are we using, or how many options do we know about it. And every option has a eye icon or a help button. What it does, just read the description, and you'll find there are so many features where using which you can minimize the risk of your organization. You can be an ideal cybersecurity compliant organization, not just on paper, but actually on the implementation level. Maintaining logs is really important from the forensic perspective. Here it is for 2 years for SEBI controlling, and then for RBI it is for 5 years. So forget about the compliance. If you take CCTV backup, right? If there is any incident, you come to know after 6 months, and the CCTV hard disk is of only 90 days backup. So if you have the backup, you will go and see the incident. So here also all type of logs, all type of critical systems, unique identification should be there. In lot of attacks, basically we say, okay, there was a CBS user. What was the username? So the log is capturing the IP but not capturing the username. So when you go to audits, check if there is a log present or not. If the log is present, okay, IP is present. Is it a public IP or a private IP? Is it capturing or not? And that IP is static, dynamic, whatever it is. Then unique identification. Does the user has a user ID, a serial, or a username? That is really important. And this logs should not have by default policies. 30 days it get wiped off. 90 days it get wiped off. So you set a backup policy for the logs also. As soon as they complete 90 days, they should be kept in a secured storage or a location, and should be maintained at least for 2 years as per the compliance. When it comes to network part of it, again, secure configuration, as I mentioned about cloud security, there are a lot of routers, there are a lot of switches, you name as Cisco, you name it as firewalls, you name it as Sophos or FortiGate, anything. They come with by default credentials. I've seen organization using them as it is, not changing the by default username, not changing the by default password. It is printed on the backside. Okay, go to this URL. and access it. So it is very easy for the attacker, and the same is published on their official website. So if a person gets access to your network, it is very easy for them just to guess the password. So your all configuration of your network devices, let's say Wi-Fi, wireless router, or any type of router switches, should change their credentials. And it is not only one-time activity. It should keep on changing. I'll show you a wonderful website here. Again, I would like to show you a demonstration. Whatever password you are keeping, this is a website which you should check. Have I been pawned? Have I been pawned? Okay. Yeah. Is my screen visible? Go to
Yeah,
the,
it's
yeah,
visible. Yeah.
yeah, go to the password section and check. Okay. Uh, Now I'll check if whenever I'm keeping, okay, I'll keep my name as a password. That is Nikhil. So now it will say, is this password being used anywhere else or not? If it is used, then don't use it. So see, this password has been used 20,043 times. So now I'll say, okay, no, I'll say not Nikhil, but Nikhil at the rate 123. So it is used 316 times, 6 times. So what I'll do is just do some random thing or some strong password and say, okay, this is not used. So there are simple tools. When you say, okay, you see the password and you can check the password of whatever they have kept for router, for CBS login and everything. You can check in this. And if it is the case, then tell them not to use it. So that is really important. Also, this wonderful website gives you a facility of checking if your email is found in some breaches or not. So let's say I'll just type my ID. This is one of my Gmail ID, one of my proprietary company. So now it says, okay, your Canva was hacked in 2019, and there your email address was leaked, geographical location, name, password, username was leaked. Then it was found in some collection one exploit.in. Email ID and password was leaked. Forbes was hacked in 2014, and this was leaked. This site was hacked. India Mart, Paytm was hacked in 2020, and my date of birth, email ID, gender, geographical location, income levels. See this, phone numbers, purchases, whatever I purchased was leaked. So there's a wonderful tool basically which you guys can obviously use for checking data breaches and passwords. It should not be used. So I'll just come
Okay.
to my slide again.
Yeah,
I'll
Nikhil, we
just
have left with the 5 minutes.
yeah. So I'll just complete. There are just two more slides, and then I'll be open for question. That is not a problem. Okay. So is my slide visible?
Yes, yes.
Yeah, yeah. So these are all the things which should be done at the data protection level. Anti-malware protection is really important. Encryption is important. Storing, transferring, and deleting of data. Deleting of data when it comes, it should be using anti-forensic method. So that data should not be recovered when you're deleting something. So it should not be recovered. That is also a thing which you should take care of. Use of mobile phones for work, office work. You should either deploy MDM type of solutions to it, wireless printers or any type of wireless devices. You should conduct a wireless PT, wireless penetration testing for it, and default password should be really changed. Control specifically about the mobile application. This is a very important part. So, my community and one of my company has recently created a solution out of it. I'll just share you this also. So there are compliance which says you use a mobile banking application. While you use a mobile banking application, that application should follow all this. That application should not be able to install via like if it is a APK, it should not get installed. Only install via Play Store or App Store. The application, when someone submits you, okay, this is my mobile app VAPT report. So have they checked all these type of parameters or not? So like if you are using an outdated version of the application, it should not be allowed to transact not exceeding more than 6 months. That is what policy says. How is the storage of the data? Is it stored in India? Is it stored out of India? So that compliance certification should also be taken care of. Then the devices basically of the application, where the application is installed, the device itself should be encrypted. Sorry, so that app should detect if the device is encrypted or not. And let's say you try to install a Google Pay app in a rooted phone, it will not work, and that same should apply for the mobile application which comes under this banking or SEBI or IRDA, any type of NBFC also. It may be loan app, it may be mobile banking app, it may be any app. Should not work on rooted phone. It should not work on jailbroken phone. It should not work on insecure Wi-Fi. When you connect to open Wi-Fi or insecure Wi-Fi, WEP, WPA, there are a lot of types. It should not work. Code obfuscation should be done. That application should not be reverse engineer, and if at all it is reverse engineer, there should be minimum data exposure where the attacker will not get benefit out of it. So it should not use APIs which are outdated, which are deprecated, and which are vulnerable to a lot of vulnerabilities and are open at exploit DB. So we have created a software development kit out of it, and you can or your customers basically can tweak it into your current application, and all this compliance and security is taken care of. So this is something there are a lot of controls to discuss, and we have short of time. Now I'll get open for questions, and also after this session also, if you have questions, these are my credentials. You can basically put your questions on my email ID or my WhatsApp also. So now I'm open for questions.
Okay. Nikhil, what we will do, and by considering the time, I have captured, there are 11 questions, which I will send it to you.
Okay.
Which once we get it, and we will post it as part of our YouTube channel there.
Okay.
Some of them, we will just relook at what is the real answer.
Okay.
And first of all, Nikhil, while we have conducted several sessions in this year itself, this is one of the what you call a kind of real hands-on kind of training, where and the people literally experience what they can bear. They know these are the things, but many of the people lacking, where do I search it and how do I get it? And some of the people still have the question like, have I been pawned? And the password, is it as, are they also collecting is to collecting the password for hacking some other things? People have doubt on that as well. Okay, but overall, it's a fantastic, wonderful session with lots of details. I think so. Such session needs maybe instead of 2 hours, it should be a 3-hour or 4-hour sessions. But what we will do, we will try to enable similar sessions in the future, so that the people, the whole community get benefited. But with your what you call immense experience, Nikhil, and I even did not see even one time you are lacking for the information. You are always the information were there on your head to clarify all the points. It's a fantastic, super session. We really enjoyed. While I could not answer everyone's questions, and a couple of people put their hands on, but with the limited time, 7:30, it's a wonderful session for this year. Thank you.
Yes.
Back
So
to
just I'll just give a concluding line here. So as again we are working towards digital India, let us work towards digital secured India, and let us make our nation digitally secured. Let us make a cyber secured India, and as a responsible citizen of this country, we should be responsible netizens too. We all are technocrats, and we should use this technology, internet, and all these devices responsibly. And that is where basically we can make our infrastructure, we can say, hardened and critically safe. So that is what I had to say. You guys can connect me on LinkedIn, on my YouTube channel. I keep sharing a lot of things on LinkedIn. That is what you can do. So thank you very much, everyone, for attending this session, and thank you for the organizers also, Rajesh sir, Vanita ma'am, and other all the organizers for inviting me to this session and allowing me to share whatever few knowledge I have. Thank you.
Okay, also, and we generally take the feedback from everyone. Then we will just send the Mentimeter and the team. And can you just log into the www.mentimeter.com? Vijaya, can you just call out the password?
Can you post the link, sir?
Yeah, we'll do that.
Uh-huh.
1 second. Vijay, can you type it? Is it
Yeah, okay. Menti method. Okay, that's it.
1 second? Let me take that exact one.
Uh-huh. No problem.
I had it somehow. I'm not, it's opening now.
Uh-huh.
Vijay, can you just type? Okay. Menti.com. 1 second. Let me type it.
Okay.
Menti.com. www.
Okay.
And the password using code will be 15818841.
Okay. That site is opening. Yeah. It's 15.
81
Uh-huh.
8841.
8841. Okay.
And team, and can everyone just log in there and provide your feedback?
Okay.
Yeah, we sincerely request every one of you to please feed in. Your feedback is very important for us.
Let me also try, and so that we can also, live 15818841, submit. Yeah, and I can also give it. Yes. Oh, super. And I could complete. Okay, and team, please share your feedback. And it was a wonderful session. And I could still see that approximately 220 people were active till the last minute. And now it's reduced to 205, but it's a super active participation from everyone.
Session. Yeah.
Absolutely, absolutely. Yeah. So all the attendees are also so much. I actually like the way they ask the questions. It's really showing that they are really interested in learning a lot. It's really great.
Correct. Okay. It's a good. Vijaya, any last comment?
Yes, I would like to chip in. That was an excellent presentation, Mr. Nikhil, with every appropriate interaction, a very rich questioning audience. I'm sincerely grateful to you for your part in our CPE event. You have inspired our community and have helped make the CPE an unforgettable experience. Now, let me propose my vote of thanks. It's my privilege to wrap up and propose a vote of thanks for today's CPE. At the outset, I would like to express my profound gratitude to our plenary speaker, Mr. Nikhil Mahadeshwar, for sparing his valuable time to address this gathering. Yes, we are now aware of the basic approaches to address the challenges thrown upon us, and we definitely have had high-level learning from this CPE. We are highly grateful to the members of Bangalore Chapter ISACA, distinguished participants, and the learned guests for participating at the event. Mr. Nikhil Mahadeshwar, ladies and gentlemen, once again, I want to thank you for the most beautiful CPE that we had today. We thank you for being with us from 5:30 p.m. for an extremely productive evening. Thank you. It was definitely a happy and a great CPE. Thanks, all.
Thank you. Thank you very much, ma'am.
Yeah, thanks a lot, sir. Really, it was an amazing, amazing presentation. Wow. Yeah. Lots of knowledge. All of us, we have gained a lot. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. We'll take your leave. Thank you, everyone.
Yes.
Bye. Have a great evening.
Thank you,
Thank
sir.
you.
That was really good. Amazing.
Yeah, it was a very good session. And
yeah, Rajesh, you also made it very correctly, appropriately. You chipped in and asked the questions. You know, it went on so well, so clearly planned like it was. Though it was spontaneous, it was really good.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks.
Okay, bye.
Ali. Yeah, bye.